Journalist Andrew Whalen explains to us one of the more dangerous injuries and how it's being combated in the Northeast Kingdom.
It's a word athletes never want to hear: concussion. More than 3 million people suffer from them every year in the U.S. alone, whether through sports or just everyday life.
In its simplest form, a concussion is an injury to the brain, the brain cells itself, that causes damage or even destroys the brain cells. Most of the time, it's a direct trauma to the head. It's also often caused by an indirect force. Just getting tackled in the whiplash action can also produce concussion, or simply falling down and racking your head like that can do it as well.
It was during a game, I think it was about the third quarter of our rivalry game. I went in for a tackle and the running back rolled off, and I spun and hit my head off the ground. And my head kind of bounced, and that's when it started to hurt.
Within the last 10 years, recognizing an injury such as a concussion has become more common. It used to be described as getting your bell rung, which coaches say is extremely dangerous.
I can tell you, I remember getting hit in a game at Villanova in college and being brought back with smelling salts. When we had the ball again, I was back out there again. So there was, you didn't get diagnosed. If you were conscious, you played.
And on the extreme end, there can be loss of consciousness, impaired blood flow to the brain, increased pressure within the skull, permanent cell death, and even death.
But now it's taken more serious. The state of Vermont even passed the law in 2013 requiring schools to have a concussion action plan. And those who work with athletes use caution to determine the legitimacy of these injuries.
You don't make a decision. You don't tell a kid, I think you're okay, go back in, or I think you should come out. You direct them immediately to the athletic trainer. Unfortunately, we've got a phenomenal one, and the athletic trainer makes the decision. If he says he's out for 2 weeks, he's out for 2 weeks. If he says he's out for 1 week, he's out for 1 week.
In football, teams are using a tackling technique borrowed from rugby and the Seattle Seahawks, which offers more protection to the head.
They have to form tackle, they have to tackle low and take their head out of the play so they don't get injured. So we started doing that, working on tackling low, wrapping safely, keeping our heads up and out of the way so that when we make a hit, we're not putting ourselves in danger.
And then also knowledge on how to tackle and hit in collision sports, properly fitting headgear, and that's a lot of it, just being aware.
Despite precautions and new techniques, concussions still happen, just like with Nicholas. Coach Alercio says some parents are becoming scared to sign kids up for contact sports because they fear their child might get a concussion.
I'd say to any parent that's deciding whether to play or not play, I would tell you, I don't believe football, if taught correctly, is all that dangerous relative to other sports: wrestling, soccer, hockey, rugby. The sport can be made a lot safer. I don't think you're in any more risk of playing football than any other sport if coaches are responsible.
And coaches like Alercio are making sure their players aren't taught the wrong way. Andrew Whalen, News 7.
Alercio also added that he finds both NFL football and football at the youngest ages to be unsafe. He said young kids need to develop muscles to stabilize themselves and their necks before putting on the pads. An LI student shows her passion for competitive shooting. News 7's photojournalist Brendan